Hey everyone, welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a EMR cluster. We will start from creating a new VPC for us to use. Also, we will create an access key pair so we can use that to connect to EMR cluster remotely. Let's get it started, shall we? So I've logged into my AWS console. Remember, the first thing we're going to do is to create a new VPC. We can do that by using the Launch VPC wizard. As of now, I only have one VPC. We're going to go with VPC with a single public subnet. Here we will give a VPC name. Also give a subnet name. We should be okay with default for everything else. Now let's hit Create VPC. It's created successfully. We can see there are two VPCs now. Let's click into that. That's the new VPC we just created. Awesome. We can see the DHCP main route table entry as well as the new access control list created as well. What I'm going to do next is to create a new access key pair. You can do that by going to the EC2 console. Under the key pairs menu, you can create a key pair here. So give it a name here, and also you can see there are two file formats you can choose. Because I'm using Windows, I'm going to go with the PPK file format option. Now the key pair is created. I will download that to my local drive. Finally, we will go ahead and create the EMR cluster. Go to the advanced options from here. Then choose the release version you want to use. And from here, choose the software you want to deploy to the EMR cluster. We're going to choose Spark, Taz, Levy. Yeah, that's good. We will not use the multiple master node. However, we will enable Glue Catalog as the Hive meta store and the Spark meta store. For the software settings, we can use the configuration classification. As you can see here from the AWS documentation, the configuration classification is basically a JSON structure for you to specify the parameters you want to change for the software on the EMR cluster. You can just copy that structure here and modify accordingly. But we are not going to do that this time. For the other options like concurrency, we leave it as is. Go to next. On this page, we are okay with the uniform instance group. On the networking, we're going to use the new VPC as well as the subnet we just created. On the nodes and the instances, if you're wondering about the pricing, you can search that on Google. This one is actually the official EMR pricing site. You need to select the region you're using right now. Then you can search on the instance type. Just to remember, there's an extra cost on top of the EC2 price. Coming back to the EMR console, you can actually see the same EC2 pricing here. For the rest of the options on this page, we can leave it as is. except auto termination. So if it's idle over an hour, it's going to terminate by itself. On this page, we should be fine with everything as is. However, we're going to give a new name for the EMR cluster we are creating. Okay, go to the next. On this page, we're going to use the new Keypair we just created. We can leave that as is. For the EMR role and the instance profile, if they don't exist, the EMR creation process will create those for you. So we can leave those as is. For the security configuration, we don't have to do anything here. Now coming to the EC2 security groups, you can leave them as is, so the creation process will actually create those for you. Now the EMR cluster is being created. You can pretty much see all the configuration we put in place. We are creating one master node, two worker nodes, with the instance type we specified. So here it has the release version, the application, the software we chose to have, also the login directory. You can see the termination protection is enabled. You can see the security group just got created. This one is for the master node, and this one is for the worker node. Here the auto termination is enabled. Coming to the application page, there's nothing there yet. There's no data for the monitoring. Now on the hardware page, we can see all the information for the instance type we're using for the master and the worker nodes. Because we haven't enabled auto scaling, so there's no data there. On the configuration tab, we can see some data. That's because we enabled Glue Catalog as our Hive meta store and the Spark meta store. You can see the configuration specification properties here. We can see two entries, one for Hive, the other one for Spark. Coming to the Events tab, we can see the cluster is being created. On the Steps tab, we can see it's actually running a step for configuring the debugging. Looks like the EMR creation is still in progress. If you want to see the underlying CLI command, you can use that CLI export. So here it has the detailed command you can use to create the same EMR cluster moving forward. Let's take a look at the security group created. Coming to the EC2 console. From here you can see there are two security groups for EMR cluster. This one is for the master node. And from the description, you can see it just got created. And the other one is for the worker node. So under the inbound rules, you can see there are rules created accordingly. On the master node, you should see the rules created as well. What we need to do here is to add a rule to allow inbound traffic so we can connect to the EMR cluster from our laptop. What I'm going to do is to allow all the inbound traffic. I'll just save that. Here we can see the new rule we just created. By the way, this is only for demo purpose. You should not do this on production. So coming back to the EMR console, looks like the creation process is still running. So here under the application tab, we can see all the endpoints got created. Okay, good. Looks like it's finished. The creation process is finished. Now let's try to connect to the EMR cluster we just created. From here, you can find all the steps you have to follow to do that. I'll just copy the host name for my EMR cluster here. On my party window, I'm going to create a session profile in order to connect to this EMR cluster. I'm just giving a name here. And then go to the SSH. On the authentication, I will use the Keypair we just created. I'm going to save this session profile and double click on that. There's a warning here, but in this case we can just click on accept. Okay, awesome. We actually just connected to the EMR cluster we created. What we're going to do next is to try to run PySpark Interactive session. So from here, type in PySpark. Okay, cool. That's actually working. Congratulations, you finished this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you.